us is visiting fellow at the US Studies Centre and Sky News contributor, of course, Bruce Wolpe. Bruce, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
So can you explain what that means to those developments, the articles of impeachment?
Speaker Pelosi and all the relevant chairs of the committees faced the press and the American people about 4 hours ago. They outlined 2 articles of impeachment against the president. First, that he abused his office as president by inviting Ukraine to interfere in the U.S. election. Second, that he has obstructed Congress and prevented its work in oversight and investigation. And what Speaker Pelosi in these situations goes back to the founding of the Republic, what the founding fathers said, what the Constitution said. And eventually she said, President Trump violated his oath of office in acting in this way, and we cannot fulfill our oath of office as members of Congress unless we move to impeach him. So this is power and accountability at the highest level under the U.S. Constitution. The Judiciary Committee will meet on Thursday U.S. time to discuss these articles of impeachment. It'll be a party line vote. Vote them to the House floor. The House, I expect, will take them up next Monday or Tuesday and vote next week.
So, put simply though, what does that mean? Because I thought that had already been put forward, that we knew all of that already. But what does this mean? Does it solidify everything?
Yes. So what do you do with it? A case has been made. How do you make the president accountable? You have several choices. Do you censure the president? Do you let it go and say, we're really sorry you did this? Or do you rise to the occasion of the gravity of what they believe they're dealing with and say, we have a constitutional mechanism. You will not work with us. You will not provide witnesses. You will not concede any error in what you did. We have a fundamentally different view, and so therefore we are going to bring you to account under the only mechanism we have under the Constitution. These are co-equal branches of government. We are not subservient to you, Mr. President. We are equal to you, and we're going to assert our equal power, and we will vote to impeach you. And then it will be up to the Senate, which will hold a trial, again, under the Constitution, to hear it all out and make a final judgment. Did President Trump violate his oath of office?
That's the big hurdle, isn't it?
That is a big hurdle. There are a couple things to watch. No Republicans have broken with the president. There's a 54 Republican majority in the Senate. It requires 67 votes against the president. That's simply not going to happen. At the same time, though, people say, well, impeachment has backfired. We've discussed this. Democrats are going to hurt themselves. Everyone's watching those 30 Democrats who won seats, Trump-held seats, in the last election a year ago. None of them have wavered either. In the midterms. None of them have wavered either. So they don't see it as a political loser. And but again, they believe it's so serious, we have to engage with it.
Okay. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, shrugging it off. He's not only shrugging it off, but he's meeting with the Russians in Washington.
Sergei Lavrov is in the White House at this hour. Should we watch out?
Yeah. No, we just actually saw in one of the feeds that was coming in.
Yes, he had a press conference with Secretary Pompeo. Secretary Pompeo said, I discussed Russian interference in our election. I said, we don't like it. Lavrov said, we didn't do it. And they talked about Ukraine, and Pompeo said, Ukraine is part of Crimea, which is part of Ukraine. And you should lay off. And Lavrov says, no, we're not going to lay off. So they seem to be representing...
To unannex it.
Unannex it or whatever.
Or whatever the term is for that.
Protect Ukraine's interests, and that's good to hear. I expect a meeting of Lavrov with Trump in the next few hours.
In the next few hours, So, what's likely to come out of that? Just a bit more of a bro down.
Trump believes that his great strength as president is how he engages with leaders around the world, pursuing a Trumpian agenda, and prosecuting American interests as he sees it. He obviously wants to have a close working relationship with Putin. The issue of the day is nuclear proliferation. There is a U.S.-Russia nuclear treaty which is expiring. Trump would like to put it together and put it together with China. So Trump wants to, at a time of impeachment and pressure, Trump is looking for high road diplomacy to advance his objectives and say to the American people, I've given you a great economy. I'm giving you a great foreign policy, too.
And speaking of which, China as well, not too far off the agenda?
Not too far off the agenda. There are 2 trade developments overnight. There's a deadline of Sunday, the 15th, on new tariffs to come into effect against China. It appears that they will be delayed to allow the Phase 1 deal to be concluded. Markets would welcome that. The world economy would welcome that. Australia would welcome that. It shows the trade talks are alive. Trump has also reached an agreement with House Democrats, kind of surprising in this day, on the new U.S.-Mexico-Canada free trade agreement. That means that that agreement will pass. That will be a major win for Trump. And another thing he can take to the election, I'm delivering on my trade agenda for you.
Yeah, it's all working for him. I just can't see him losing the election next year. But just onto that election, I've noticed in the last couple of days, Joe Biden's been doing quite a few interviews, and he seems to be getting more and more defensive, and despite more aggressive questioning, I suppose,
yes.
when you're talking about him and his son Hunter and what he might have known. He called someone a liar the other day to his face at a rally, which seemed to suggest that he's getting hot under the collar.
Hot under the collar. And we've talked about this too. After a certain point, particularly with President Trump, who knows how to throw mud really well, some sticks. And so people wonder, well, if this is how you look now, how will you fare face-to-face against him in the election? Yeah. And he is defensive about it. However, in national polls, he is still leading the Democratic pack and is seen by most Democrats as the one most able to go against Trump. But it's going to be tested by everything that you say.
But I just don't think he has a good answer for it. I mean, he was questioned on I'm not sure if you saw it, but there's a reporter who said, you should have known about this. But he goes, my son didn't do anything wrong.
My son didn't do anything wrong, and I didn't look into it because I trust my son.
Exactly.
Does that really add up?
No.
Right.
It doesn't pass the pub test.
Exactly. Well, we'll find out when the pubs start voting in Iowa.
Yeah.
But it is... he is not the formidable candidate that people would like him to be.
No, that's right.
And so that opens up to others. And again, that Pete Buttigieg, who we've talked about, watch him. He is on the move, and he is the same centrist type as Biden, much younger, much less experienced, but people may want a fresh face.
He's served as well. I read about him the other day.
He's a veteran.
Yeah, that all works.
It absolutely helps. He is gay.
Yeah.
And America has not faced that issue.
That's right,
we'll have to come to that.
Especially in
but there are
Bible Belt, Midwest around there, right?
Absolutely. And there's also Elizabeth Warren is still in the race and very strong. Sanders is still very strong. Also, Amy Klobuchar. Now, she's a senator from the Midwest. She has done very well in the debates. She may yet emerge as the new Biden, the new centrist, and a woman. Yeah. But there is no person of color in the top tier of the Democratic race.
And then Hillary Clinton makes the late charge.
She better not make the late charge. I think we can say that that is not going to happen.
All right. Bruce Wolpe, as always, great to get your thoughts.
We'll have an historic week next week with the debate in the House of Representatives.
What's that one?
On impeachment. This will be the House voting to formally impeach the president.
Okay. All right.
Next week.
There's always something going on, isn't there, Bruce?
No shortage.
It's great. It's one of the highlights of my day talking to you, I've got to say.
Thank you, Pete.